Sanbonan, guys. So just got home from being dominated by our sisters. Yeah, it's crazy. I've got a request, please, guys. Please just comment in these videos. I get a lot of DMs. I get a lot of side conversations, but I think a lot of people can actually benefit from the comments. I know it's also a bit daunting, because now you're putting yourself out there publicly and people can actually just call you out if they disagree. But the whole aim of this community that we're trying to build is so that we can teach each other, learn from each other. And even if we disagree, we do it in a very respectful manner. Because again, in life, we won't always see things the same. But yeah, so yesterday I posted a video speaking to sisters and saying to sisters that they must shoot their shots. And I was saying, there's a lot of good guys out there, and and because there's a lot of good guys, and when you're a good lady, go out there and find those good guys, and nibe good nobabili, today I was put in my place, and it's so crazy what people say privately, whether it is in a safe work environment, like let's say you guys are in the kitchen or sitting outside or in a DM. It's crazy what people can say in those spaces versus what people say in the comments, which is very public. And people tend to want to be politically correct in the comments versus are they unedited. When it's just in jail, you guys are having chats, they're unedited. I'm not live chive. Go to sis, give me a pension. That's why I'm a good guy, I'm a bad guy. I was like, what? And they were saying, yeah. So I found out, yo. And like people were saying that. And it's so crazy because like my brain is trying to process what like I'm saying, look for the good guys, take your shot, etc. etc. And sisters are saying the guy that I want, who is not a good guy, I'm not gonna take my shot because I got phone. And I know I got phone. And I was like I'm trying to make sense of all of this. Like you have a whole generation of sisters that believe a woman shouldn't take the shot. They should be sitting and being ladylike and have the man take that masculine, traditionally masculine role of asking her out. And I get that, It again changes based on age. I've heard again, a lot of sisters who tend to be in their 20s don't subscribe in going out there and shooting your shots. Whereas sisters, once they get into their mid and later 30s, they're like, look, I don't want to be single. I'm going to go out there and take my shot. But it's crazy because you still look at the type of men that they still want and the type of men that they attract. Because a sister who's in her mid 20s thinks she's got forever and she's so amazing. Whereas the sister in her later 30s looks and says, hey, the guys that I'm attracted to, they're getting less and less and less, and I need to be out there, And again, it also speaks to the stage that you're in. Guys, there's so many factors, but what was so crazy was the fact that ladies are not prepared to go out there and shoot their shot. At all. They still want that guy who's coming to them. They still want the guy who's willing to take the risk. They don't want to take a risk. They still want the guy who's going to take the risk. And I'm sitting there and they're describing this guy. And I'm trying to write down notes. Because instead of expanding Parliament notes, and I picked up of the personality type that they are waiting for. Sisters tend to describe 3 personality types, and I might be getting them wrong, but this is my mind. They're describing a guy who's very narcissistic. They're describing a guy who's Machiavellian, and they're describing a guy who's like borderline psychopath. The way that our sisters describe privately the type of man that they want versus publicly, it'll shock you. Guys, it'll shock you. Sit with sisters in a safe space, make her feel safe, make her feel like we listen, we don't judge. You make her feel like that, I promise you, she'll break down the type of guy that she wants chasing her. And then she'll say, why must I chase that loser there? Why must I don't have time for that. And you'll bring it down. And in the conversations, I'm like, so essentially you guys want bad guys. You want them a bad boy, And I'm trying to find from them what it is, those traits, that they are yearning for in a man, because again, it still shocks me. You're a single sister, yet you're not going out there looking for a partner and shooting your shot. But then when they started describing the traits that they're looking for a man, I realized, the man that they want, chances are he gets what, or at least he attempts to get what he wants. So they started describing this guy, and obviously a lot of it has to do with being confident. They described the guy who's authentic, a guy who's independent. They described the guy who is like a dominant type of masculine role, a guy who's exciting, a guy who's, who's not scared. Some of them would say, we are who's not interested in you, and there's something attractive in that guy who doesn't care, and when you start understanding and breaking down those patterns, that they want a guy who's bold, who's spontaneous, and ultimately I'm trying to so you guys are looking for risk takers. What you are scared within yourself, that's what you are seeking for out there. Because if you're going to shoot your shot at a guy, that means you need to take a risk, of which you might get hurt. You might get a huge fat no. You are seeking for a person who's willing to take the risk for you. And that's where I got absolutely schooled. And again, I'm not going to say people's names, but I'm very, very appreciative, because I got schooled because how she broke it down for me in my little small brain. She was like, Pat Penson, you must think about at its most natural state when you have hunters and gatherers. Gathering is sitting at home or sitting in a field picking berries and fruits and vegetables and whatever. That's relatively safe. Whereas being a hunter is taking risks. Now, if we go very primitive, at our most natural state, a woman wants a man who can take risks for the family. A man who's going out there to face the elements, who's facing the predators, who's putting himself out there so that when he comes back home, it's for the greater good. Why would I want a man who's a nurturer if I'm a nurturer, or who's a gatherer if I'm a gatherer? So what are we just going to eat grapes? And I'm like, when she was saying this, I'm like, shit, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. So if I'm a sister and I'm like, look, I'm not going to put myself out there. I'm looking for a person who can put themselves out there. I'm not going to be this guy, this role because that's what I yearn for in a relationship. So if I all of a sudden am the one who's the risk taker, chances are I'm going to settle with the person who's a gatherer. If I'm a hunter as a sister, chances are I'm going to be settling with the gatherer. And then the conversation got into the whole alpha and the simps and the high value, what. Then you start realizing, a lot of these alpha females, and you guys have seen it, they tend to settle down with simps, because then she's the hunter, she's taking that role. I'm going to be the hunter. And now she's found herself a gatherer. And in that situation, it's the hunter-gatherer, and then she becomes the alpha of the home, and then he becomes the simp, and then, and if it works for them, then it works for them, no shade at anyone. But the reality is that a lot of the sisters that I speak to, they want an alpha, they want a risk taker, they want that guy, whereas then she'll be happy then to be the gatherer, to be the nurturer, to be the feminine energy in that space. And hearing it from sisters was just like crazy, but I'm bringing it back to 2024. You start realizing that sisters are looking for those indicators, because again, it's not like back in Tuka when people had to go out and, catch a zebra with their bare hands. So you start looking for indicators of what constitutes a risk taker, and, in the movies, when we grew up watching movies, there'd always be this guy who's on this motorbike without a helmet. That's crazy risk. He's willing to put himself out there, whatever the case is. But in today's time, it then becomes that bad boy, that fuck boy, the guy who's willing to go into a room and mac on girls, or into a boardroom and say a joke that might not land. He's putting himself out there. A guy who's willing to start the business, a guy who's willing to go to the job and say to the boss and say, I need an increase. So whatever the case may be, when she sees those traits, she brings it back. She's now saying, okay, sharp, this guy's a risk taker. And she brings it back into her life. She says, this guy's going to put himself out there. He's going to take risks for the greater good, for the family, for my kids, for my family, whatever the case may be. But that's how her mind starts working, So again, as I was saying, Wuti, why is it that I want to be with a person who's not willing to put themselves out there? A person who's not willing to, at a braai, at a social setting, a person who's not willing to come in there, chat, get to know people, when you want to be standing in the corner, because somewhere someone told you, Guti, empty vessels make the most noise, or angazi, something about pools being, Girls don't have the time to try and figure you out at a social setting with the guy sitting in the corner is so mysterious. Yeah, baba. Put yourself out there. If we're in a boardroom and people are asking questions, you just keeping quiet. We don't know how smart or how dumb you are, And if there's a question or an answer that you know, but you keep quiet, you're not willing to take the risk. Another person who might get it wrong, we're like, well, at least he tried, put himself out there, he took the risk. And that's what we applaud. Which, okay, no, man, you're not quite there, but this is how and then we start guiding. And then the next time offline, we're like, hey, Chad, hey, listen, Matt. So this is the thing. I like your thinking. When who knew all the answers? You said quiet, you didn't take the risk. And with no risk, there's no reward. We all know this, So, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate all the DMs. I appreciate all the chats that we have with Abantu. I appreciate the comments. Again, we're different, but we're all learning. So I'm hoping that Amachita who are watching this understand Uguti Osisbets are looking for people who are risk takers, who are looking for people who can put themselves out there for the greater good of themselves and their families. And that's what they're attracted to. So yes, you're a great guy, but you sitting back thinking that the lady's going to come to you. Today I learned. Sisters are not going to come to you. And again, if those aggressive A-type sisters are coming to you, it's maybe because they see the opposite energy. Because to a large extent, opposites do attract. Masculine energy loves feminine energy. We've seen that time and time and time again. It's a yin and yang type of energy. So if you're a guy who's constantly approached by a lot of these strong alpha females, not saying what you're a bad oak, you might be a great, amazing oak, but you might be that energy that I don't want to speak about right now. Understand what most of our sisters are looking for. Not all, most of our sisters, they're looking for a risk taker. That's why they want to put themselves out. It was crazy. It was a crazy little thing that I went through today. And I was like, okay, I learned a lot. Thank you so much to all the individuals that we had a chat with. Thank you so much for the DMs. A lot of stern words by our sisters. Our sisters, sometimes they don't mince their words and they shoot from the hips. So, ngiyabonga, guys. Ngiyabonga. And again, I just hope Amachita are cognizant of what the market is looking for. They are looking for confident men. They are looking for guys who are bold, who are unapologetic when they take those risks. They are looking for guys who are independent. They are looking for guys who are, funny in the right places, or the right times rather. They are looking for guys who own their shit, like being a man. In bed. What people say publicly might be very different from what I heard privately. So just let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Share this video far and wide if you think that Kona will benefit out. Guys, let's grow this community. Let's grow. I'm really enjoying the DMs that I'm getting. Guys, some of them, I'm sorry, I can't read them or I can't do videos about them because Nina Ningolile and you're very inappropriate. So thank you so much still for all the chats. Please subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. Hit the notification bell and have yourselves a fantastic day. And Sanda, guys.